Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a guide and a profitability test for the new pasta production. This is a mod that is for all platforms. It is by Piercy, and it is only 7.14 megabytes to download. It was featured in my top 10 mods last week. So yeah, I figured I'd do a video on it to teach you guys how to use it and teach you guys kind of what it does and is it actually worth doing? And you may be surprised. So anyhow, let's go ahead and get into it. So what is this mod exactly? There's not actually a lot of complicated stuff in this mod. There's a couple production facilities over there, which we'll mention in a bit. That's a standard gray mill. I'll mention why that's there in a second. But over here, this mod does come with a sell station to sell the new products. We go into the store here, well, into the build menu. Production, selling points at the very end. You have the pasta selling point, $5,000 to buy. You can place it wherever you would like. So nothing too crazy about that. Now, the things you can sell there are the things that you can create in this. So there's a grain mill that allows you to create maize flour or corn flour, which you can see. It says maize flour on there, and then also allows you to create soy flour, which it says on there. And those are both things that you can sell at this production facility and will be used in the production of some of these items right here, which are the pasta. So over there in the far corner, that is the new grain mill, or the modified grain mill, which allows you to produce those two flours that I had in addition to regular flour. And then over here we have the pasta production, which allows you to produce these. So first off, we have dry pasta. We have 1,000 liters, and I'm only able to lift these things because I have super strength on. Just be aware of that. You'll need a forklift if you're on console or whatever the case may be. But we have dry pasta, we have potato pasta, we have corn pasta or maize pasta, we have soy noodles, and then we also have fresh pasta. So, and again, I can move every single one of these into this sell point and sell them. No problem, no questions asked. Just move them over to the sell point, and you can sell all your new pastas. You can see we're getting money up there in the upper right-hand corner. I know we have a ton in here because it's my test map, but there you guys go. We got $13,000 more. So, moving on over here, we have this guy over here, which is the pasta production, which I'm actually going to cover second. We're going to cover the grain mill, which is over here, and I'll kind of place it down backwards. We're going to cover this first. So the base game grain mill is basically the same as this one, except this one now has corn flour and soy flour that you can make. The other fun thing that this mod has is this guy over here. So what this is the same production as that, just cheaper. So the concept behind this is if you had like maybe a building on your farm or somewhere that didn't have a purpose, you could place this next to it, and then you could give that building a purpose. It could become the production facility, which is pretty cool. But if we go into build menu and we go to production, we scroll down all the way to the very end, we have the grain mill, which you can see now takes soy and corn and gives you corn flour and soy flour in there. 96,000 to buy, same as the standard in game one, which is back over here. Same as the standard in game one. Rotate smooth around, all that sort of stuff. And then we have the grain mill trigger, which is the production facility, but just this trigger over here. So how do you put stuff in here to be able to produce stuff? Well, pretty easy. This one has this area here, and the other one has a little dump trigger there. So if I have, well, this tractor right here with soy, for example, and obviously this works the same with all the other products, and I just drive over the top of it, I can dump this in here just like this. Easy peasy. You can see it's dumping in there. And if I wanted to dump some over here, it would be also equally as easy. I could just pull on here, and I could start dumping whatever I needed to dump in. And if we go into the menu here, down here to flour production, you can see this one has soy in it, and this one will have soy in it. Well, now it actually should if I go back to it, because soy is getting dumped into it. So it all works out. But that's that. I can stop that production there. And then where do your pallets of your new product spawn? Well, on this one, they spawn right here in this little checkered zone. And over here, they simply spawn to the right of it. And if I want to access the production, just go up to the wrench, hit R if you're on PC, and it'll take me to this. You can see grain mill trigger, and then you have grain mill up here. And this is the base game grain mill down here, which again, I'll explain why that's there in a second. And then over here, if we wanted to access our production facility, I can just go up to that trigger there. Now, what does this produce? Well, it produces wheat flour, barley flour, oat flour, and sorghum flour, which all produce just the base game flour. Then we have corn flour, which is maize flour, and then soybeans flour, which is the soybean flour, the soy flour there. So how do productions work in general? Down here at the bottom, I can hit activate, which will start this thing running. And then in a second, it'll say inactive. Well, up here, it'll say materials missing because it doesn't have it. And if it's not running, it'll say inactive at the top. So I'm going to deactivate that. Then it has cycles per month and production cost per month. So the production cost per month, and that's however many days you have in month. So if I am playing the game with 6 days per month, this will be every 6 days. It charges you this. If you have 1 day months, it'll be one every day this charges you. And that's $24 if you have this production running. Then you have the recipe down here, which is 5 liters of wheat equals 4 liters of flour. And then up here, 3,600 cycles per month means this is going to happen 3,600 times per month. And again, that'll be divided by however many days are in each month. So this will happen 3,600 times a day if you're playing with 1-day months, or if you're playing with, well, 2-day months, this 3,600 will be divided by 2. So on and so forth like that. Then over here on the right-hand side, we have all of the incoming materials. So these are the materials you put in. We can see our soybeans in there, and those are the other materials we can put in. Then down here at the bottom, we have our produced materials, which is flour, maize flour, and soybean flour. They're currently set to storing. Down here, I can change it to selling if I want to automatically sell these. Just be aware you do take a 20 to 40% hit on that. And then if I have it distributing, this will distribute them to the next production facility. For example, since I have pasta production, which takes all 3 of these, if I set these to distributing, the flour that's produced will automatically get put into our pasta production, which is pretty cool. And if you leave it on storing, until it'll just stay in here until there's 1,000 liters, and then 1,000 liters at a time, it'll spawn pallets out on the pallet spawn point. Unless this is full in here and the pallet spawn point's full, then it'll kind of shut the factory down. Now, the reason the grain mill's in here is because I wanted to show you that the grain mill that comes with this mod, and both of these, by the way, they're the same. The grain mill and the grain mill trigger, they're exactly the same in terms of production value. The grain mill here, 5 liters to 4 liters, just like this one. Same with barley, same across oats and sorghum are both the same as well. And all of these cycles per month and the cost per month are all the same. So it's basically the same as the grain mill. We're just adding 2 new products. So I wanted to show that. So there's no benefit or disadvantage to having this over the regular grain mill. It costs the same. It just adds more products. So if you wanted to maybe do this stuff later, maybe do the pasta later, and you just needed regular flour for now to sell because you had these products, place one of these down, or the grain mill or the grain mill trigger down, because it's going to be the same cost to you, and then there's more products you can produce later down the road, which is pretty cool. So that's how this all works right here. It's pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot of advanced things going on there. But now that we've done that, let's make some pasta. Pasta's pretty easy to make over here. The pasta production, you have the endpoint right here, which is where you're going to put your products in. So for example, I have a pallet of corn flour. If I put that over here, it'll start putting that in. I have a pallet of flour. So I'll put that in. So it starts putting it in. And then again, I'm using super strength. Then I have a pallet of soy flour. I can put that directly in that way. And then one of the productions does take eggs. So if I put a pallet of eggs in there, just like that. And now the other things it does take as well, I have water in here, which I'm going to turn both of these guys on just to get them started up. So if I drive over that, it's still taking the eggs, but they should be out of our way by the time we get up there. Maybe. There we go. If I drive the water over the top here, I can now start dumping my water in. If I wanted to get that in there for my production, pretty straightforward. I'm just going to pull this off. That'll be enough water to get us started. Pull this out of the way. Then I have potatoes because, well, we have potato pasta as one of our products. So as you can imagine, it does take potatoes to make that. So all of our other products that come in a trailer in bulk, you can just pull over the top. And just like this, you can start dumping in your potatoes. Boom, just like that. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to pull this out. We don't need any more potatoes, so that'll be plenty just to demonstrate the point. So, there's nothing really on the back. It's quite a large building, I will say that. If we come around the front, nothing on this side here. Nothing on this side here. Little parking spot there, but nothing there. Then here we have our spawn point, so our pallets will spawn kind of in here and then work their way out. And then here we can hit R to activate the actual production. So these buildings, let me show you them in the build mode. Again, you go to production, factories, at the very end here. $90,000 for this, so it's actually cheaper than the grain mill to build this massive production facility. And then we have the trigger, which is $20,000. And again, it works just like this does. And we go over here. This is your endpoint for everything, just like the grain mill was. Your trigger to activate or to go into the production menu. And this is where your pallets are going to spawn. So it works identically. But yeah. And in terms of production, we go in here. Yes, all of the cycles, how you activate these, all your inputs and outputs. The only thing that's different is what products we're making, but all of it works identical to how I explained how the cycle status, production costs, all that stuff is all identical to how the grain mill one would work. So just be aware of that. But in here we have dry pasta, which takes 90 liters of flour and 30 liters of water to make 100 liters of dry pasta. Fresh pasta, 80 liters of flour, 10 liters of egg to make 90 liters of fresh pasta. 35 liters of flour, 100 liters of potatoes to make 115 liters of potato pasta. 90 liters of corn flour plus 35 liters of water to make 100 liters of corn or maize pasta. soy flour, 95 liters of it plus 25 liters of water equals 100 liters of soy noodles. So there you go. That's all your produced items in there. And that's how it works. Pretty straightforward. Now, the big question is this actually worth doing? So if I actually, let me pull up, I'm going to put a chart up on your guys' screen here in a second. You guys should be now seeing that. So on this chart at the top, it says pasta production. This is for economic difficulty normal. And I'm assuming that your water is free. You have somewhere to get free water, which is like from a stream or a pond on the map. So if you have to pay for your water, just understand that's going to be an additional cost. Then I have the product in the left-hand side of that chart, then the input, the output, and then the profit per cycle. That's per cycle. So if it does 3,600 cycles per month, which the corn flour and soy flour, for example, both do, that profit per cycle is divided or multiplied by 3,600 if you got it running full speed ahead for the whole month. So just be aware of that. Now, the way I calculate these, and this also includes the production cost. At the bottom, I put a little note. This includes the production cost per month. So that's divided into the cycles here. So for these, the way I calculate this, the input value there that you see on the left-hand side, that is if you had instead, for example, for the corn, it takes 5 liters of corn to make 4 liters of corn flour. That is how much you would have gotten for the corn if you sold it at the best price instead of putting it into this production facility. So instead of taking those and putting them in, that is how I kind of calculated that to see if you actually make money if you put them through this production facility. And as you can see, for corn flour, you make $1.15 per cycle. So you're making a little bit of money. That's great. And then you can make more money if you turn it into corn pasta down below. Soy flour, you lose a boatload of money. You lose a lot of money. Your soybeans are worth more than turning them into the flour in this case, because the soybean flour is actually worth the same amount. You can see at the very bottom, the soy flour and corn flour are worth $13.71 a month. Now, there is a soy flour adjusted value down there, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So again, at the bottom, you also see the prices I use. So those are the prices I use for my calculation. So understand that if you get maybe, $1,000 per 1,000 liters for corn, your input costs are going to go up. So that's just to kind of show you guys what I use for my calculations in case it's different for you. And then on the left-hand side, we have the profit per month, which we'll talk about. So then you have dry pasta, fresh pasta, potato pasta, and maize pasta. Those all make you a decent amount of profit actually every month. And that's taking in the ingredients, including the potatoes, the eggs, the flour, or the corn flour. And instead of selling it separately as corn flour, you're putting it into this. You're still making more money, which is great. Now, the soy noodles, you're losing money on that. However, if you had calculated the soy noodles using the cost $13.71 for soy flour, if you'd use that, you'd actually be making money on the soy noodles. But we know the soy flour costs more than $13.71 to make. So the soy flour adjusted value that you see down at the bottom this is not how I normally produce it or calculate this, but I did it this way because you lose so much money on soy flour and you need it as a further production. So it costs you to make 1,000 liters of soy flour. It costs you $2,681. That's how much soy you're using to make that. So that's the value I used for the soy flour when calculating the cost of the soy noodles. So when you put it through that way, you actually lose $1,600 or $16 per cycle on soy noodles. And then if we go down to the bottom, that's now taking however many cycles per month and multiplying it by the profit. So some of them, even though, like, for example, potato pasta, you're making $52,000, even though fresh pasta, or actually, let's take corn pasta instead. Corn pasta, you're only making $24,000. The reason potato pasta is double is because it produces at twice the rate, even though it is still worth a little bit more per cycle, but you make a lot more per month because it can produce twice as fast. So just be aware of that. And then you can see soy flour, you lose $18,000 a month. Then if you take it to make soy noodles, you're going to lose an additional $2,000 a month. So making soy noodles is going to lose you like $21,000 a month is how much it's going to cost you to run that. So I do not recommend doing soy noodles unless you need them for like a role play aspect of something you're doing or something like that, or you're able to get a better price than I was for soy noodles, which is $23.95 per 1,000 liters, as you can see at the bottom. But anyhow, guys, that is what I have for you guys. That is how you use the pasta production and the profitability of it. So do everything but soy noodles, I guess. There you go. If you guys enjoyed, and again, if they update it, I should just clarify that. If they update it, this is version, let me look just to make sure I'm correct on this. I believe this is version 1.0. Yep, this is version 1.0.0.0. So if they update it to make soy, worth more, just be aware that they might be profitable in the future. I usually don't do update videos on these because it doesn't make sense for me to do a whole nother video for every time they update a production mod. So there you guys go. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.